Hi, it's Lynn, your Freedom Financial Coach. I want to talk to you today a little bit about post-holiday blues. Christmas is now over, and all the presents have been given. The food has been eaten. You saw the joy on the faces of all your loved ones as they opened Christmas presents that you gave them, and it was all wonderful. Now, however, you may be sitting, looking at your credit card bill, wondering how you managed to spend that much. You just couldn't let little Susie or little Johnny down, or maybe big Susie or big Johnny. So although you have great Christmas memories, you also have the bills to show for it. Last year after Christmas, you said it wouldn't happen again. You were going to budget. You were going to buy on clearance throughout the year. You were going to get those debts paid down, and yet maybe time got away. Maybe your mind was on other things. So what to do now? The first thing to do is put the whip you have on your back away. Let bygones be bygones. Shame has a way of actually keeping us from changing. Ironically, the more we castigate ourselves, the less we get done. It's kind of an ironic part of human nature. So shame aside, let's get to see what needs to happen. Depending on your income and outgo, you may need to work a second job for a while and pay debt down. If you're worried about what others may think, and this is what keeps many people from getting their finances in order, they feel like they're kind of, outside the box or doing things differently than other people are doing. Just remember, one, that you don't need to explain anything to anybody. But if you feel a need to explain, remember that 66% of Americans would struggle to pay for a $1,000 emergency. There's no need to feel shame about trying to not be one of those 66%. As a matter of fact, it's a reason to give yourself a pat on the back. There are other ways to get rid of this debt or any debt. You need a small emergency fund too to start, so you don't end up putting money on a credit card that you hadn't intended to. $1,000 is a good step for an emergency fund. We have things that break down, car repairs that need to happen, appliances that break down, things that need to happen. If you've got $1,000 emergency fund, you're not going to take whatever you need and put it on a credit card again. So here's some ideas on getting started in getting rid of your Christmas debt. If you can't pick up a second job, you may need to do just a side gig for a while. Take the talents that you have and figure out, something that you can do that doesn't take, maybe 20 hours a week like a second job would do, but just something that you can do that'll earn a little bit of extra income. Sell an overpriced automobile. Many people have a lot of money in their vehicles. Just think of how freeing it would be to sell your vehicle, take the cash left, and buy a vehicle outright. You can get many good running automobiles that are reliable for much less than you are paying now. Some people are afraid that if they buy a less expensive automobile that they will break down, they won't be able to get from point A to point B. But really, a lot of older vehicles are very reliable. They break down about just as much as new vehicles do, but you don't have the car payment to make. If you have enough cash laying around to refinance your home and you have an older, higher interest rate, now's a great time to refinance. You may wonder why I'm talking about refinancing, because that costs money. We have got post-holiday blues. I'm just saying, if you do have the money right now to do another refinance, now's a good time to do it because interest rates are low. If you have too much house, the market for selling is really good right now. Say that you have, a 2,500 square foot house. It's just you and your husband, or you and your wife, or you and your mom, or, you don't need the space anymore. It's a good time for selling right now. You could take that money, invest it into something else. You might want to rent for a little while until the market goes down and you can find a house that's a better price later, because right now the market is really hot. People are buying houses left and right. It's a good time for selling. It's not necessarily a good time for buying. But if you want to downsize, It'd be a really great time to do that. Another good way is just plain old tightening your belt. Many times people think they can't tighten their belt further, but usually that's not the case. What are some ways of tightening your belt? Putting a stop to going out to eat. If you feel you need to go out to eat because of time constraints, the dollar menu at the fast food place is much more inexpensive than a regular restaurant. Also, if you skip the drinks and you get water, not only will it help the finances, but it will help your health and waistline too, which that's another reason for post-holiday blues. Cut out a few calories there, save money while you're at it. Learn to use a crock pot. Meals in the crock pot taste wonderful, and you can make many frugal meals in a crock pot. Buy chicken thighs, dried beans, potatoes, skip the steaks, prepackaged meals, and expensive frozen dinners. Learn to cook. Not only will you be saving money, you'll be healthier, again, which saves money on doctor bills too. Shop once a week or once a month even. The more you go to the store, the more you will spend. Reverse isn't true. The less you go to the store, the less you will spend. Some people use shopping as therapy, a way to get out of the house, something to do. Might be a good time to reassess that thought and decide that shopping is not really a good hobby when you're trying to save money. Instead of buying fancy gadgets, ask yourself if there's an easier, simpler way to accomplish the goal. Oftentimes there is. Think of people in the Great Depression who used what they had. They had a saying, use it up, wear it out, make do, or do without. They often went without, which is something we're not used to doing in today's time. Our culture tells us that we must have all these things, but that's why the average family has $16,000 in credit card debt at 16% interest. At the regular 3% minimum payment rate, that's $480 per month. That's average. If nothing else was purchased, it would take 3.75 years to pay it off. The question is, which person do you want to be? The person who works to be different and is maybe sometimes seen as odd, drinking water at restaurants or working a second job, or saying, well, I can't really go shopping. Let's find something else to do. Let's go hiking. You're seen as, being a little bit outside of the box. The other option is to be the person who is average in America. Personally, I don't want to be average when it means giving my money to the rich. Change your think into a thunk. Stop buying clothes for a while. Ask yourself if you really need that new pair of running shoes when you have 3 pairs of admittedly somewhat scruffy shoes in your closet. Maybe a cleaning rag and some shoe shine will do. If you feel good about it, buy used. Some people can't stomach this, but I almost always buy used. My philosophy is let someone else spend $50 on a shirt, wear it once or maybe not at all. I mean, you can find brand new clothes. You'd be surprised how often you can find brand new clothes at thrift shops. And I'll pay $4.99 for it, which also, when you purchase that item at the thrift shop, you're also supporting a job for someone who's working at that thrift shop, and you're also saving the environment. You're not buying new all the time. If that person who bought that new sweater, if they just threw it in the trash can and you didn't buy it, that would be in a dump somewhere. Find free entertainment. There are lots of things to do for free. Hiking, reading, etc. Pro tip, shopping is not a free hobby. Cut out cable or Netflix or anything you are subscribed to that you don't want or need. Look into your home and auto insurance and cell phone company to see if you can find these things cheaper elsewhere. Eat your leftovers. Americans throw out so much food. That's why I have to point out again and again, Americans are rich. We're so rich. And so many people think they're so poor. The reason that they feel that way is because they're living from paycheck to paycheck. If you can pay that debt down and not live paycheck to paycheck, you're still going to, be eating the same amount of food. You're still going to be doing a lot of the same things, but you're not going to be throwing out your leftovers. You're not going to be giving your money to the rich by paying interest and things like that. If you have to buy something, buy used. Consider, if your appliance goes out, or, when you're in need of a new car or something like that, buy all those things used. Even furniture, you can buy used. Some people can't stomach that, but for me, it's the way I've lived my life. I don't know any other way, really, and so it's just second nature to me. Think of the things that you really need to spend money on right now. You need a roof over your head. You need the electricity to be on because you'll need heat and to keep your refrigerator running and things like that. You need food that sustains you. That means you don't need to go out to eat necessarily, probably. You just need food that sustains you, which is very many times you can buy it very inexpensively. You need transportation to your job. Obviously, if you can't get to your job, you can't make money. We really don't need much more than that. Once you get some of these basic things down, you can get that small emergency fund going. You can get rid of that, on average, $16,000 in credit card debt. After that, you can work on the next step. So let's do a summary on changing your think into a thunk with the post-holiday blues. Number 1, don't beat yourself up for past mistakes. Shame keeps us frozen. It keeps us from changing. Put the whip on your back away. Stop beating yourself up. 2, look for ways you can change things so you have more money each month, either by earning more or saving more, or both. 3, only spend money on what you really need: food, shelter, transportation. 4, save up an emergency fund and pay down debt. 5, remember this: if you find yourself feeling like you're comparing yourself to others you see around you who seem to be spending freely, remember again, 78% of people live paycheck to paycheck, and the average credit card debt is $16,000 with 16% interest. Now, do you want to be average? Do you? Change your think into a thunk. Thank you for listening today.